Bulavinaka, good evening. I'm Vijay Narayan. This is Fiji Village Straight Talk, and tonight our special guests, the younger generation. What do they think of our country, where we're heading? What are their thoughts on what we should be doing? And to hear their voices. For the first time, I'm really excited because we've never done this before. We tried it in the last two elections. There was not much uptake on it. But this evening, we've got 6 parties that have come forward and accepted our invitation. I'll go through the list now. Our guests tonight, we have Fiji Labour Party Youth Candidate Milika Nasilivata, and National Federation Party Candidate Apenisa Vatuni Veivuke, People's Alliance Youth Candidate Bulo Ngavindi, Sadelpas Koroi Tikoi Loma Loma, Unity Fiji's Penny Matani Singa, and We Unite Fiji Youth Candidate Nitish Sharma. We also sent invitations to Fiji First General Secretary Ayaz Said Kayum, an invite for a youth candidate from Fiji First to come and attend. No response has been received. The voices of the younger generation is critical in the 2022 general elections, as 350,930 people registered to vote are between the age of 18 to 40 years. Based on the importance of this, we invited the younger candidates from various parties, and the invites were sent in early November, and we continued to follow up. Now, we have only 7 days to go, and campaign blackout starts on December 12th, Monday, which means no more political party campaigning. And pre-poll voting is underway with over 77,000 registered voters allocated from yesterday to December 9th, which is Friday, allocated times, allocated venues for people to vote in that area. Please encourage people, if they are on their list, to vote based on their allocated pre-poll venues, because if they don't vote there, they will not be able to vote on December 14th, which is next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, pre-pollers cannot come and vote. Their time is now, during the pre-poll time. We'll go straight into the questions now. I'll start off with Milika for Labour Party. Why contest the 2022 elections, and why join the party you're contesting for? What is your decision based on?
My decision, I joined the party in 2018 on the grounds of empowering the people in living in dignity and on fair wages, affordable education, having a healthy, good health system, and also giving our children a decent education. And those were some of the grounds that I joined the party, was to empower also young youths in voicing out or expressing their selves.
We'll hear more about how you will be doing that. Apenisa from NFP.
Bulavinaka Vijay, thank you. I joined the National Federation Party in 2017 because I believe NFP was a party that was founded on principles. Many parties have come and they have gone in this country, and there will be many parties that will be coming and going in this country. But the National Federation Party is here because it's not tied to a person or a leader, it's tied to an idea. And that idea is decency, having people come together and make decisions for the future of this country, and a fair living for all. That is why I joined NFP, and that is why I'm running for NFP.
Bulo from People's Alliance.
Thank you, Vijay. The reason that I've joined the People's Alliance is because I've been observing their progress. They're a very young party, just over a year now, but I've noticed that they've really got this support on the ground of the people. I believe the People's Alliance will be able to defeat the Fiji First at this election. That's the main reason that I've joined this party, because I believe coming in, you have to go with a strategic plan. And for me, the decision was based on evaluating the other parties, evaluating the other leaderships, and deciding who is the best party, who is the best leader to deliver to the people's expectation. The reason that I'm in politics is because I saw a lot of wastage in the way the government expenditures, how they've run the economy over the last 16 years. I believe that needs to be addressed now, and I believe the People's Alliance will be able to do that. Vinaka.
Thank you. Koroi from Sadelpa.
Thank you, Vijay. I joined politics in 2014 under the Social Democratic Liberal Party. I've been a believer of the SDL party and the policies that it stood for. And the leader that had caught me at that time, that made me establish that political that interest in the Social Democratic Liberal Party is when the Marambala Tertiary came in. I mean, she was the only leader prior to 2006 up until 2014 that was vocal. And joining the party, I saw that it was in line with my values, the principles, and what I as a person believe in. And those had attracted me to SADELP. And despite there being many changes, I'm glad to say that it's become a transformative party. It has just like Mr. Batanebi said, it's not attached to any leader. The party is based on principles and values that can sail through into the future.
Now on to Unity Fiji. Penny.
Thank you, Vijay. For me, the reason I joined actually, when I joined Unity Fiji, this was last year. I joined Unity Fiji late last year, as one of their youth volunteers. And going on from there, I reviewed what the party was about, what they stand for, and I really liked it. And the other bit why I wanted to join into Parliament was I see that youths today are not well represented. We represent the largest percentage of voters here in the country, and we don't have someone who's there for us in the decision-making table. So I think it's about time that we have someone up there to voice out what we youths need, because I've said this before and I'll say it again, it is different when a youth represents youths, because we know what we want, and we just need someone who's in there that's within our age, within our, what do you call it, range, well, in the youth range, sorry, to represent us. So yeah, that is why I joined politics.
Moving to We Unite Fiji, Nitish.
Thank you, Mr. Narayan. So the reason why I joined politics, well, first of all, beginning of all, I never wanted to be a politician. I actually hated politicians growing up. I'm one of the youngest candidates to be here. And I'm still a student of FSM. This was my 4th year. But I'm very opinionated. And I'm also quite active on social media. I would say stuff which I feel like needs to be spoken up on. And people would be like, oh, what are you doing? Just, why are you saying stuff? Like, go do something. You know, actions speak louder than words. So, and also something happened to me this year while I was doing my hospital attachments. I saw that our health sector is really bad, which we'll get into further on. And once I spoke up about one of the infrastructure problems in CWM hospital, I was told off by my doctors, my seniors, that this is not my position. I should not be speaking on this. And that really ticked me off. And it made me realize that even if I become a doctor, even if I become a civil servant, I will have no say into what happens, the management of our country, of our different departments. Only when you have power can you make true changes. So, I'm a stubborn-ass person. So I decided that then I will join politics. I at first tried to join as an independent. I wished to be like truthful. When I couldn't, I almost gave up hope. But then, just the day before registration closed on November 14th, I approached We Unite Fiji. Now, I wanted to join one party. I had to join a party to contest. So it basically came down to which party basically I would vote for if I wasn't standing. So We Unite Fiji, first of all, is from the same place I am. So I know the candidates over there. I know the leader of We Unite Fiji. I know the founder of We Unite Fiji. And also it's a new party. Personally, I don't want to diss out any other politician, but I'm tired of them. I'm tired of not seeing progress. I'm tired of fake promises. So I wanted a new party that is clean, has a blank slate, that hasn't been tried off. And so because it's a new party and I'm a new candidate, they were more likely to listen to me instead of me joining a larger, more established party, and they would just use me to get votes of the youths. They wouldn't really let me to speak. So,
Thank you, Nitish, for that. Moving on to the next question, Apanisa from NFP. Youth participation is a concern in the elections. 148,436 people aged from 21 to 30 years were registered to vote in the 2018 general elections. Only 89,670 actually voted on the data. This is based on 14th November 2018. What are you doing and what do you think will engage more youth to come out and vote?
I think the fact that there's a lot of young people are disillusioned with politics in this country, because a lot of the times it has become a spectator sport. The politicians dishing out insults at each other instead of talking about the issues that face this country. And a lot of young people are not interested in that. They're interested in talking about good and proper policies that our people face and how do we get to solving them. In terms of engagement, I don't think that we are doing enough to talk about how important it is to vote. Because a lot of people will tell us, why should I go and vote? It's a holiday and I'll stay at home. I need a rest. It's after exams at university. So that is something that we as political parties have to actively engage people in. And I think this election is one of the most critical elections that we're going to face. And we have to get people to vote. But people are not interested in voting, and that is fine. So young people are disillusioned. We don't know who to vote for. We don't know what parties stand for. And we are tired. We are tired of the kind of politics that currently exists in this country.
Bulunga Vindi from People's Alliance.
Thank you, Vijay. I want to echo the sentiments Apanisa made. Young people are not actually interested in politics. Traditionally, young people don't feel that their contributions to national development are recognized. They don't feel that their voice is important in decision making. And this is not just at politics. This is down at all other areas of life, whether it's in their family, whether it's in the village, the communities, the religious organizations that they're a part of, their jobs. So young people need to have a pathway into leadership. If they can have that pathway, if we can get in, create this process for them to come in and encourage them to be a part of the process of decision making, we may be able to see more participation from the youth at the elections. What I'd like to impress upon them at this point in time is it's very important for you to come out and vote this year. This government has really bled this economy. We really need to reverse this. We need to bring about urgent economic reforms. We can only do that if you come out and empower us on December 14th. Vote for a change, vote for a new government. Pinaka.
Koroi from Sodelpa.
I think so. Everybody will all say the same sentence. The youth not being inclusive or not having that open forum to participate in. For me personally, going to informal settlements. These are the chunks of the voters are there. There's a huge amount of voters are in these informal settlements. And to even come for campaigns, you have to lure them with things like there's grog there, there's things like that attract the youth to come. And one thing that I've been telling them when I'm going out in this campaign is, many of you come, you complain about you complain about the struggles that you face, and it's up to the government of the day to decide. And why don't you decide? Why don't you vote on the government that you want to help you? And one thing I think so every one of us should highlight to our youth members is to refrain from drinking grog the night before. That's something that, because they tend to sleep, and when it's time to vote, and then when you come and you stand in the line, our patience is very thin. You stand and you see the line, that big long line, and you right at the back, forget it. Why waste my time lining up when I can go and do something else? So we have to be there. Try and ask the elders to support the youth in coming up as a family. It's a family day. So it's the responsibility is also on the families to influence and make sure that the young ones, the very youth that will be voting, participate.
Drink grog after voting.
Drink grog is after voting.
Okay. Penny from Unity Fiji.
Vijay, the reason that I think that youth participation in elections is not good is because there is no representation. If this stems back to leadership, ever since we came into independence, the system that we had, there was no rep to voice out our opinion. So youths of today feel like, oh, voting, that's for the older gang. It's fine. We don't participate because what's the point, right? That's what they think. And that's first-hand responses from people that have asked out campaigning. Eh? So what I feel like is that we need to go back and do advocacies, go to the grassroots, teach them, implement that into our education system from early childhood till from 7, even tertiary, about the importance of voting on election day and why your vote matters. And even at home, we should encourage talking about it, because we come from a culture that where we just listen to our elders. They tell us what to do, we do it. We are not told, here are other options, read up their manifestos, these other parties, go out, seek your own knowledge and see who you want to vote for. So that's one of the main reasons that I think voting for the youths, their participation is not good. It's just we need to improve on advocacy on it.
Nitish from We Unite Fiji.
So I think I would agree with my peers for most of it. Like, first of all, there wasn't much representation for the youth. Like just this election, which I'm really proud to see so many youth candidates. And also, usually decision making is left to the elders of our family. Like our culture is such that the older generation makes the decision. We just listen to them. They tell us who to vote for, we'll go and do it if we have to go and vote. And also, we just lack the patience. We don't have the interest in politics. Most young people don't care what happens in government. We only care about our school life. Like already our school is, and like our works are so stressful. So I think just the fact that we have more representation this time, that's a good thing, that I feel like more youths will come out and vote. And as for getting the youths out to vote, my message to them would be, do go and vote, because we make the largest portion of the registered voters. And also I feel like most of the policies or all the decisions made in government affect us the most, because these older generations will be gone soon. If I'm being frank, we will stay here, we will read their decisions. Good or bad, that depends on who we vote for. So I think I just want to encourage our youths to go and vote, because your votes matter, your voices matter. And if we do not stand for it, it's basically just saying, oh, take our freedoms away.
Okay, Nitish. Milika from Fiji Labour Party.
Thank you. I'd like to add on, I agree with most of you. The education system needs to be reviewed. There needs to be a lot of awareness out there for people, for the young youths to come in and participate, especially involve them in youth and government policies and topics on environment. So there's the need for youth to be involved in the decision making. And yes, that's what I feel and think.
Thank you, Milika. On to the next question, Bulo from People's Alliance. I will start off with you. What are some of the main issues that concern you? Do you think enough is being done for the youth in this country?
Well, I think because of the current economic situation we're in, where debt to GDP ratio is 85%, not much has been left for development, 15% only. This is what the economists tell us. So the priorities to develop youth are simply not there. Youth are not prioritized. If the People's Alliance comes into power, we're going to look into youth development, into specific areas of sports, increasing sporting facilities around the country, in building the cultural, recreational aspects into the education system. We're looking at a whole other areas of creating employment through investing in different industries aside from tourism and sugar. And we'll get into this more, I think, in other sections of this interview. But I think for the youths, the main thing is youth participation, not only at national level, at all facets of socio-economic, political life. I think youth can contribute more. I think there's a lot of dropouts from the school system that doesn't cater to all the abilities of the youth. I think there needs to be more needs to be done to address the unemployment of youth, which is leading to a lot of youth getting into crimes and other social ills.
Koroi from Sodelpa.
I think so. The youths of today, basically being not given that platform to participate in all different areas of society. In churches, they've been told not to make any contribution in the religious life, communal life, and in the political arena too. The problem is there's this stagnant phase that we've reached. Like we have older politicians in politics that have hogged up the whole process. We have younger leaders that can take us through, and I believe it's time that we had that transformation where we have younger people to join politics. Probably if we can put out a retirement age for politicians as well, for them to have okay, this is where you stop. Give space, let the leadership pass on, and then you don't leave any loopholes. Like if somebody dies, God forbids, then there's a big crisis. Who are we going to turn to after that? So let's empower, let's mentor. There should be a mentoring process where you mentor young people, so that when they come in, they know what to do. Not when they come in, they're surprised, or there's baptism by fire. So I think so. What we need to do first of all is try and recover our economy. Because when you recover the economy, then you can save all the other, answer all those other problems. First of all, is try and get rid of this government. Like I think so, all these other parties will all join in, agree that we get rid, so that we implement youth issues, youth friendly, and that will be basically help us. Because basically we are going to decide on the future that we will inherit, all of us here.
Question for Penny from Unity Fiji. What are some of the main issues that concern you and you think enough is being done for the youth in this country?
Naka Vijay. For me, the main concerns that I think as a youth here in Fiji is education. Education is one of the biggest concern. I think post-COVID, there has been a lot of dropouts, and I think that's one of the main spaces that we need to look at is education. Not only education that we have now is also on the system of education. We've had the same system from back in the day, and we still go on with it today. There's been a few changes, but there is no representation, if I can say, for other forms of education. The performing arts, those are some forms of, like we have different students of different potentials. Why not tap into their fields? So education, employment, that is on two of the main issues that has also affected us a lot, especially after COVID. I feel that companies have to give out, more companies have to give out internship programs. How then would younger people be able to have experience? So we see in advertisements that come out on the papers, this so-and-so job and they're looking for a person that has 3 to 5 years of experience. How will us young people, straight out graduates, come into the work field and have that form of experience when we don't have internship programs like that? We do have some, but there's not enough. So that crimes is another important issue for me as a youth. Post-COVID, the brawls that have been happening, the theft, all of this have increased throughout the years, and I feel that we are not doing enough from the government and the people and society itself. So those are a few of the things that I feel that are very important that we need to look at, for me as a youth, that I would advocate on when we do get into
Nitish from We Unite Fiji.
So, where do I start? There are a lot of things that I'm actually passionate about and I would like to speak on, but some of them have been mentioned. But two of the most important things that I personally am really I have strong opinions on are, first of all, freedom of speech. I do not think we have the true freedom of speech in this country. It's in written, that we are a democracy, we offer freedom of speech, but we don't. We were ranked 102nd in the freedom of press, or like journalism. We are ranked as a weak democracy. So, and I personally, from my own experience, I was prosecuted by my doctors for speaking up. I'm an opinionated person. So if you say you have freedom of speech, but you have consequences that come after it, then if the consequences are you losing your job just because you voiced up, that's not freedom of speech. That's a way of actually oppressing freedom of speech. The other thing that leads on to that is job security. One of the things this government has actually failed, which made me dislike them, I used to be a Fiji First supporter, is the we lack job security in Fiji. And it's mostly the pandemic really brought things to light for me. So many ATS workers lost their jobs. So many car workers lost their jobs. For expatriates, when the USP Vice Chancellor was deported out of Fiji, it's a slap to our face on the international community. And no expatriate, in my opinion, would want to work in a country whereby they can be just deported if the government feels like. So I feel like as a youth, we need strong job security. If we have a secure job, even the problem of how to pay back TELS loan, that will be solved on its own if you have the security. I don't want to be a doctor, and then if I voice my opinion, they sack me. So, yeah.
Milika from Labour Party.
One of the problems, I believe, is education. Most youths, they find the problem of affording education. The fees are too high, I believe. So under the Fiji Labour Party, we will, our policy, we will reduce fees, try to make them affordable for youths that need to further their education. Also, the toppers, they will be supplemented with scholarships for those who are financially and geographically disadvantaged. Those are some things on youths, on education, which I believe that's a problem for youth. And also jobs. On jobs, our party will provide job creation for 5,000 youths who are without tertiary placements. So that is one thing that we will do in terms of creating jobs for them.
Apanisa from National Federation Party.
A lot of the young people in this country are just trying to make our parents proud. We want to go to school, get good enough grades, that will get us a good enough job, that pays a good enough salary to afford our lifestyles. But that hasn't been the case in the last 16 years. And the answer is economic. Youth unemployment in this country is hovering at around the 18% mark, but that does not take into consideration youth underemployment, where you've got graduates out of schools that cannot find the jobs that they studied for. Now, how do you see this? When there's NEC, national employment, when people have to go overseas to go and work, a lot of the young people will go. Why? Because there are no opportunities in this country. And that is the fact of 16 years of Fiji First government, that you have stifled down the opportunities of economics in this country, and people can't find good enough jobs. The cost of living is rising every day, but young people can't afford to buy a home, can't afford to live in a good home. We still have to look after our parents in this country. So that is the concern and the issues that are being raised by young people every time we go into meetings. And that is something that as a responsible government, you would take some time thinking out solutions. You can't have a solution in one day. You have to have a solution that brings together all the different sectors of the economy. And one of the things that NFP is doing is we are going to be calling a National Economic Summit within the first 100 days of an NFP government. Because the fact is, to solve our economic problems, it needs the input of every sector of the economy. We need employers, we need unions, we need workers, and we need politicians to sit together at a table and actually iron out the issues that our country faces.
You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. Historic night tonight as the youth gather around this table to talk about their issues. We'll be back after this break.
what I did in 2006 is to clean up the mess in the study.
When there has been Itoke leadership, everybody has been embraced.
He cannot stomach the fact that he is not in government.
You said that you couldn't pay out bonuses, but this shows an increase in board directors' fees.
You are wanting to lead the country, not me. I'm asking you the question again, back to corporal punishment. Right. What's your stand on it?
Fiji First cannot intervene into a personal matter.
Absolutely you can for small businesses.
I was very surprised when he came out with that statement that I would conduct a coup if I lose. Not
Hand
me.
on your heart.
It's him.
No, you're a joke.
No, you are a joke.
You're a joke.
You're a joke. Don't bring it up.
No, I gotta bring it up. You were commander.
But yes,
Every military officer and serviceman at the time was under your
you've
command.
forgotten you trained them.
Bulu Vinaka, this is Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan.
Fiji Village Straight Talk with Vijay Narayan. Sponsored by Salt and Pepper Home Decor. Living in high quality. Watch it live on the Fiji Village Facebook page. Download the all-new Fiji Village app. Get the latest news direct to your mobile. Get the latest sports updates from our scoreboards online. Navigate easily through our categories. Watch videos from Straight Talk interviews, local music videos, sports and many more. You can now easily listen to your favorite radio stations from your phone. Download the all-new Fiji Village app right now.
Welcome back. This is Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. Tonight we have the youth debate and 6 parties have confirmed and they are talking about issues at the table. Fiji Labour Party, National Federation Party, People's Alliance Party, SODELPA, Unity Fiji and We Unite Fiji. We invited Fiji First. Invites were sent to the Fiji First General Secretary to nominate a youth candidate. There was no response received. Moving on, we start off now with SODELPA, Koroi. Koroi, what is your view on the health sector in Fiji? Are you concerned? And what do you propose should be done?
The health sector in Fiji is one of the worst that I've ever seen. If you go into hospitals today, and my good friend would also agree, that the facilities are not health friendly. They're not conducive to an environment where going in with an ailment or such illness, even the environment itself is not even going to help you recover. So there's a lot that needs to be done in hospitals. We've seen a lot of how poor our health facilities are, and there's a policy in place by SODELPA through our manifesto, and we've allocated a good amount of money, which is $20 million, for the improvement of medical infrastructure. There's $40 million allocated. And the SODELPA manifesto, I have not been touching much on it, but we have a manifesto that has already things budgeted out to help in these kind of fields. And so for the health, yes, we need to make a good review the health system, review the wages too for the health workers. They've given up much of their time. I know all throughout the COVID days, where we had these first frontliners, working day and night to help sustain the spread of this, sustain and contain the spread of the virus. And the SODELPA has a budget allocated to see the improvement of all health infrastructure, the provision of free medical care to those that cannot afford it, and a free dialysis for the kidney dialysis that majority of our people cannot access.
Penny from Unity Fiji.
Vijay, for me, I think the health system, I agree with my friend here, it's horrible, the worst that we have. From personal experience, just last year I went to the hospital. I was taking a patient and we ran to the emergency. This was in Singapore Hospital. So you'd think emergency would have enough doctors and nurses to cater for whatever emergency that might come up during the night, or because I went at night time. I got there, we had to wait in line. There was only one doctor and one nurse covering the whole of emergency in Singatok Hospital. And that is a huge problem. The next day, one of the patients that was waiting in the emergency died. So for me, the health system that we have is really not good. And the reports that go out about the health system in Fiji, you'd be surprised when you read it. The UPR reports, there's 3 cycles that have been published about Fiji, and one that was published when they came to do their review on the Fiji health facilities was that one main bit in the last part of the report, it said Fiji's health facility is world class. I saw that when I was like, no, this is wrong. I was doing research on one of my political science units, and I went to do a presentation. So I went to the hospital, took pictures of all facilities. I know it wasn't allowed, but I had my way. So I took pictures, put it up in presentation, and I showed even my lecturer was so surprised. Dr. Milavaha, she was like, how did you get this? How did you get your pictures? You must have been really good. I was like, yeah, I tried. So comparing the pictures with what the UPR reports said, I was like, no, this is not true. For Unity Fiji, what we're trying to do we've implemented in our budget for our manifesto is that we'll add another 200 million that goes towards health to improve our health facilities and hopefully better the health service here in Fiji.
Nitish from We Unite Fiji.
So, sorry. I would have to agree with my friends that our health sector is really bad. But I will not give the staff of our health sector too much slack. They have been overworked. Yeah. A lot of our staff are leaving Fiji for abroad because there's a shortage of healthcare workers worldwide. But the difference is, whereas in Australia and New Zealand, they're being replaced by nurses and doctors from Fiji, who's replacing our nurses and doctors. The reason why you don't really see, and that actually the Singatok Hospital thing also happened with my mom when we took her to the hospital, is that there just isn't enough staff. And the government has refused to raise the wages of nurses. Like nurses, they do a lot of work. They get too much slack. Yes, there are some who are rude, I would have to agree, but they do a lot of work and they do not get enough pay. So I believe that if any sector needs to be allocated more money, it is the health sector, not education. It's the health sector because health is wealth. If you look at most developed economies, the largest portion of the GDP goes towards the health sector. Ours isn't. So I think just more funding towards our health sector, that would solve a lot of problems for our health sector.
Milika from Labour Party.
Yeah, there is a mounting dissatisfaction in the healthcare services. We believe, Labour Party believes that there should be private sector in health. Labour will access specialist expertise and resources for the management of hospitals to improve services and technology. They will implement a new health insurance scheme to help improve healthcare and medical facilities. They also will remunerate doctors and nurses' wages, pay, and staffing as well, and stock up on free medication for the people to make it easy for them to access medication. These are some of the things that are in our policies that we believe that needs to be implemented in the healthcare system.
Thank you. Apanisa from NFP.
A lot of the issues that are facing the health system today doesn't require much creativity to fix. So fixing the tiles, putting a fresh coat of paint, putting something on the ceiling, putting in a window. It doesn't require much creativity, and it's something that hasn't been done for the last 16 years. Why? Because there's nothing big in fixing the health system. There's not going to be a big salu. There's not going to be a big speech if we suddenly decided to put tiles properly at CWM. What happened in 2018 was there was a big ceremony, groundbreaking, for the maternity unit at the CWM hospital. And just a few weeks ago, they replaced the board that says that the change was happening but the hospital still looks the same. And that is because our priorities currently don't go to where they're supposed to be, which is the basic stuff. Ensuring that there is medicine in the pharmacies, ensuring that there are enough bandages, ensuring that there are enough covers for mattresses, ensuring that there are mattresses to begin with. But that's not happening in this country because the priorities of our health system is not in the right place.
Bulu from People's Alliance.
Thank you, Vijay. I think my colleagues have highlighted an obvious issue that's affecting all citizens. Public health has never been at more deplorable state. It's not just the services, the infrastructure, it's also the shortage of skills. So after all this time, we don't have enough qualified specialists to perform the sort of operations that our people need right now. If they don't have enough to take them overseas, they have no other option but to wait till the clock ticks down and they're at the deathbed. What the People's Alliance intends to do, if it comes into power in the first 100 days, is allocate an additional 50 million to the health services, and we'll do this through reallocation in the existing budget. Vinaka.
Now on to the next question, and this is Penny Matanisinga from Unity Fiji. Based on rotation, you will answer this first. The cost of living remains a contentious issue for many young people and families. Prices of goods and services have risen by high percentage levels. Freight costs, higher wages, fuel are some of the factors that are being talked about contributing to this increase. Things like onions now cost $4.95 a kilo. That's the assessment done just a day ago compared to about $1.50 a kilo last year. What are your thoughts and how can people be provided with some relief?
Vijay, I agree with you on the cost of living. It is no doubt, it's been happening. We see it in our everyday lives. And I believe we were both shopping at Superfresh on Sunday, and I was surprised to see the cost of food items that we buy every day. It has increased drastically. And the thing is, 4 kg sugar, now it's $10.12 in the supermarket. We are a country that produces sugar. How is it that sugar, to someone that produces it, costs even more? So cost of living is increasing, and that is why we at Unity Fiji, we have come up with a budget and a manifesto that revolves on the economic side, because our party leader is someone who is educated and knows about the economy. So one of the main things that we've brought up in a manifesto is that we'll increase the wage rate to $5. And I believe that this is one thing that it does make a difference in a youth's paycheck or an average family. And that is how some of us are able to afford a better living. Not by much, but it will help us at least sustain ourselves. Mm-hmm. So that is one thing that I like about the Unity Fiji Party is our plans on the economics side of things on our for Fiji.
Nitish, we unite Fiji.
So first of all, Mr. Narayan, sorry, I should have mentioned this during the health sector, is that one thing we should really do is encourage more on mental health. One thing that I would love to do is improve the facilities at St. Giles Hospital. We don't do enough for our mental health sector. Now going back to the cost of living thing, one thing I wish that people actually understood is that some things are beyond government control. Inflation is not something just for Fiji. Like the price of onions going up, we don't produce onions. If the price of onions go up abroad, it has to go up in Fiji. Who's going to pay for it? The government take more debts to pay for your onions? No. Also, VAT. Some people play VAT out of proportion. 9% VAT, oh, it's too much. People need, like the government needs VAT. So I'm not someone who hates VAT. I don't think we should be lowering VAT on all items. Because if we do, where are you going to get the money to fund your services? What really should be looked after is wages. Our wages have been stagnant for way too long. A wage review should be done, and it should be increased, but after talking with economists and having an informed decisions. But controlling the price of basic food items, if it can be grown in Fiji, encourage it. If it cannot, not much can be done about it. So this notion that the government can control prices of goods and services that are being imported, that's not possible.
Thank you. To Bulo from People's Alliance.
Thank you, Vijay. The issue of high cost of living, to some extent, can be addressed if we invest more in the agriculture sector, so that we can diversify it a bit, and we don't have to import so much. So creating our own products, making them available locally, trying to meet the demand locally, rather than always trying to import and having to be a price taker. The other thing, when you develop your agriculture sector, is you create jobs, you increase your productivity, you're able to increase real wages and incomes. Then you can balance out the cost of living. So you have to go to the root cause of the problem, which is over the last 16 years, this government didn't do enough to increase our GDP. Thank you.
Panisa from NFP.
Well, of course, it's an economic issue, and NFP has made it clear that we will be, in the first 100 days of our government, is we have been to call an economic summit. Because, as my friend has stated, the issue is wages. In this country, real wages hasn't increased and at a level that is required to stay up with the cost of living in the last 16 years. And how do we do that? We first have to get everybody in the table to talk about what are the current costs that we face, how will our economy be impacted when we have an increase in wages, but also something that we haven't been talking about is empowering unions. Unions in this country are responsible for fair wages, fair working conditions, and things like that. And in this country, we have been a very anti-union country. We haven't done enough to encourage unions to have their right to picket, to demand better working conditions and demand better wages. And that hasn't happened in the last 16 years of this government. Because why? This government is currently in the pockets of business people. And that is a fact.
Milika from Fiji Labour Party.
I also agree with my colleagues on the wages part. I agree that wages need to be indexed to the cost of living. Our party is coming up with $5 an hour if we do come into Parliament, and that will be indexed to the cost of living as it goes along. Also, boosting agriculture by encouraging farmers to produce more through our National Agri Distribution Initiative. Under this initiative, Labour will increase funding and scope of Fiji agro marketing and grants to independent distributors to collect farm produce from all farmers and distribute them to all local markets. That is under that initiative. And also import duty, we believe that import duty needs to increase just to control our imports. So that is one of the things that we will.
Thank you. Korui from Shodelpa.
I believe a lot of the points that I want to raise have been raised by my good friends here. And one thing that sums up, we've been talking about a lot of things. Health, education, now we're going on to cost of living, I think. So basically it's to improve the economy. And like my friend from the We Unite Fiji said, that first there is to be an economic summit to determine where to properly allocate our budget, and where also to prioritize. And one in particular that everybody's mentioned is the wages to be at $5, and I think so all political parties have set that to $5. But we have to also grow locally. For sugar is one example, but inflation is something that is globally felt. So if the price is determined overseas, we can't do much in Fiji. So for us, for Sodelpa, we'll be promoting contractual farming to reduce the risk of production, price and marketing costs. And we will also put out $80 million in counter-inflationary subsidy through food vouchers to help meet the cost of living for those that are being underpaid or living under the poverty, below the poverty line.
On to the next question, and it comes to We Unite Fiji representative Nitish. Nitish, this is in relation to youth poverty. According to the 2019-2020 Household and Income Expenditure Survey, and I'll read it to you, most of Fiji's poor are in the age group 30 years and below. Poverty rates are higher for the younger segments of the population than the older groups. This means that the young population are overrepresented in the poor population compared to the overall population. People under 30 make up 54% of the population, but 60% of them are poor. Youth initiatives to reduce youth poverty based on interactions from the ground. What is your assessment and what can you say about that? How can that be reduced?
So, youth poverty, just like any other poverty, would be a hard thing to deal with. It's easy to say that we are going to create more jobs, but that's easier said than done. You can't just bring out jobs out of nowhere, right? So one of the things we should be doing is encouraging businesses, more private enterprises, more entrepreneurs, making it easier for young graduates, young startups, young people to start up shop in Fiji. So job security is one thing, and again, getting access to like loans, for example. And also, a lot of our graduates don't have jobs. For example, a lot of teachers have to wait 1, 2, 3 years to sometimes get a job. So, for example, if you just focus on teachers who do not have a job, what we could do is reduce the student-teacher ratio. That would allow more teachers to spend more time with each student and also create jobs at the same time. But I personally think it is a hard thing to deal with, and I would not be the best person to speak on this issue. Maybe my colleagues would know more. But I think just creating more jobs and having a bit more job security would be one way to deal. Also, we should encourage businesses to take in new graduates. Most of the times, like there's this stereotype that, oh, get experience, then we'll give you a job. But you need a job to get experience. Like if no one takes us in, we won't get the experience. So businesses and the private sector should be more willing to take in new graduates. They usually take in older, more experienced people.
Thank you. Bulu from People's Alliance.
Thank you, Vijay. Most of the youths are poor or they're under the poverty line because they're not financially independent. So they don't have a means of livelihood. And if the government cannot address this through creating employment for them, then there's a real risk that they will remain in this poverty trap. What the People's Alliance intends to do is to change the mindsets of these youths by creating some incubator processes and programs so that we can get them into small business management, improve their entrepreneurial skills. Because most of these youths are the ones that fall out of the school system. The ones that actually come through the school system and get proper jobs are not the ones that we have to worry about. It's the ones that are falling out of it that get caught in the poverty cycle. So for those ones, we really need to look at upgrading our vocational institutions and providing them the sort of opportunities that the academic system doesn't allow for. Because we have to recognize that not all youths have talents or the potential to come through the academic system and get a job. So we need to create the sort of trade skills opportunities for them. Thank you.
Apanisa from NFP.
I'm going to add on with that, my friend from the People's Alliance, to say, we are brought up in a society that expects you to go to school, to go to high school, then go to university, and that's the way you have to go and get a job. That is basically the current understanding of the way that things should work. But there are a lot of other things that we young people can really, if the society doesn't look down upon these things, that we could actually get done, like farming, like talking about skills. The skills, the trade schools in this country have failed. They failed miserably. And that is a result of government not being able to really look after their investments well in trade schools. And it's an issue that we have to solve if we are in government. It's an issue that we have to look at to get it back, because the expectation for all of us here is you have to go to university. That's the thing. If no, you will be classed as a failure. But that shouldn't be the case in this country. That shouldn't be the case if you are to create a skills-based economy that can really build Fiji from the ground up.
Milika from Labour Party.
Yes, I believe the education system needs to be reviewed at primary and secondary school level, because from my experience, children come home. I have kids. I have a kid from 5, and comes home with lots of homework, and that's at primary school, secondary school level. And they're stressed at this time. These are the times that they need to be spending with their family, and give them a little bit of homework, because they're at an age where their mind needs to relax, they need to play, they need to go out and breathe fresh air. But yeah, the education system needs to be reviewed at primary school level, come up tertiary. There's a lot of students with youths with talents, and when they reach youth, they're without, they're stressed with all this coming through the education system.
So we need to stick to youth poverty. You move to education. Be careful of that. We'll address that later.
Okay. Yeah. So I was saying there's a lot of school dropouts because of, I think, being stressed during primary and secondary school level, and that's why there's a lot of dropouts. And yes, we need to also create jobs for these people through, because some of them have skills, have a good singers, a good movie makers and stuff like that. So our party will be introducing a sports, culture and arts and culture for Fijian Academy for sports, culture and arts, to boost employment and training, and just get those youths out there to show up their skills. And we'll be funding this arts festival, and just to help the youths. So those are just some of the things that we will do.
Thank you. Koroi from Sodelpa.
I wouldn't say that that dropping out from school is one of the biggest factors to youth poverty. If you go around the world, wealthy people, not many of them have dropped out of school. But we need to upskill the youth. We need to also provide financial literacy to them, help them know how to save and invest at a very young age. Because for us personally, for me, we were getting money. Many of us were getting money, $10. So as soon as the money landed onto our hands, we were spending it. So we were never taught to save. We were always taught to spend. So if we change that mindset, 30 some youths overseas at 30 they're already owning businesses. See, we need to empower. We need to tap into that field of trying to get in more and encourage them to go into small businesses, encourage them to set up their own businesses. Or we are bakers. One thing with COVID, we've seen a lot of these bakeries, small bakeries by single mothers and those that have dropped out of work. So the potential is there. All we need to do is to tap onto those potential, provide financial literacy, and so Delpa has that in place, and we'll also diversify the Pacific labor scheme into the skill labor, where you have carpentry, plumbers and electricians, and send them abroad, and let's help them be financially stable and to get rid of that high number that you have there.
Increase remittances as well. Yes. Moving on to Penny from Unity Fiji.
Vijay, I agree with all my colleagues here on everything that they've shared. One thing that I wanted to share on as well was the financial literacy. Yes, we do get money. Youths are not really educated well on how to use money, where to use them, how to save. I think a contributing factor is the system that we have, where the government just gives out freebies, and these youths, it gives them a, how do I put it, a laid back attitude towards life, because they know that this government is there, there'll be freebies coming, we'll just get money from there. Because, and the plan, we need to instill plans in our youths on what they can do in order to make money for themselves. Because when this government goes out, this money dies out, what then do they depend on? They need to find things that they're good at, and that is one thing that our party is coming up with, is the upskilling. We're bringing back the TVET program, that is the technical and vocational education. We're reviving that. We'll re-establish that worldwide. And the other factor that we have that is different from other parties is that we have an economic transformation program. This program helps youths, especially those who are skilled in other areas of life, say the performing arts, those who, agriculture, that's the word I'm looking for, sorry, I'm blanking out. Agriculture, that is one other side of the economic ETP, as we call it, the economic transformation program that we Unity Fiji have. It helps youths thrive in these different areas that they're good at. The Unity Fiji will help with these youths in helping them acquire the necessary items that they need, machines, all these fertilizers and whatever they need for the agriculture sector. And it will take them throughout the whole process of taking, having process centers for them, protecting their resources and also the capital. And the last thing is that we want to do that will also help youth economically is changing the mindset. So that is what we Unity Fiji stand for.
Thank you, Penny. Youth gathered around the table here at Fiji Village Straight Talk. We'll be back after this break. If no one hits that 28 or more than 28, who will you be ready to work with?
We're quite ready to form a coalition amongst the opposition party. But we will not form a coalition with Fiji First.
Will Sodelpa consider a coalition with NFP?
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Some people are receiving the same salaries today which they were receiving in 2012. Look at what salary the ministers are drawing. Prime Minister gets $1,000 a day, roughly.
Mr. Rambuka, what is your stand on Itoke land?
And I said in Fijian, and on the two in the Sangan Lewan. It is ours, but we have no control over it.
They will go for every boat in this country. We will go for every boat in this country.
We have identified $1 billion of wastage in the budget 1 year.
Review the laws. Review the laws. Review the structure.
After the election?
Otherwise, we'll make false promises.
I don't want you to make false promises. I'm just asking you because there's people wanting to know. As an aspiring Prime Minister, how do you look at that?
You talking about Marama?
I'm talking about you.
Oh, I thought you were saying expiring Prime Minister.
Bulu Vinaka, this is Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan.
Fiji Village Straight Talk with Vijay Narayan. Sponsored by Salt and Pepper Home Decor. Living in high quality. Watch it live on the Fiji Village Facebook page.
Welcome back. This is Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. Tonight we have the Fiji Labour Party youth candidate Milika Nasilivata, NFP candidate Abenisa Vatunivevuke, People's Alliance youth candidate Bulonga Vindi, Sodelpa's Koroi Tikoi Loma Loma, Unity Fiji's Penny Matani Singa, and We Unite Fiji youth candidate Nitish Sharma, who are participating in this very important debate tonight on how the young people are affected by what's happening in the country. We also had extended an invitation to Fiji First General Secretary Ayaz Said Kayum from early November. However, no response came through for youth candidate participation from the Fiji First. Moving on to the next question, Milika from Fiji Labour Party. A lot has been said about upgrading our education curriculum. What are your thoughts?
I believe education is plays a big part in our children and our youths. There needs to be, like I said before, there needs to be a review in the entire education system. We need to encourage such topics as, we need to improve the curriculum. We need to involve topics such as music, arts, representation of in society. We need to involve the youth in also in this reviewing this entire education system. There needs to be a consultation. We need to sit down. The youths need to be heard in terms of education, and also the government structure in decision making on how the grants need to be utilized in the education system.
Apanisa from NFP, Education Curriculum.
The National Federation Party's position has been clear for quite a while on the education curriculum. We believe that there needs to be a review of the education curriculum to put it in par with what young people learn in the 21st century. And we need to get the experts involved. The fact is, governments don't have all the answers. The answers are in teachers, are in education experts, are in the experts of how young people cope with issues in the 21st century. So NFP, within the first 6 months in government, will ensure that we put in place the process to start an education curriculum review and of course a review of the entire education system.
Bulong Vindi from People's Alliance.
Thank you, Vijay. I agree with Apenisa. In the first 100 days, the People's Alliance are going to convene a national education forum. We're going to invite all stakeholders and we're going to try and discuss the way forward, not just for curriculum, but the entire system. So we've got to look at assessment as well. We've got to look at the policies in education that have led to the failure to address all the different abilities of students. This Education Commission will also review curriculum and the way processes are currently to implement the curriculum. We need to look at the quality of teachers coming through the education system. We need to review the teacher training institutions. The problem goes back and we need to address these. We need to address the sort of human resources that we have, not just in the classroom, but at headquarters. We need to review and we need to monitor, we need to evaluate all the policies in the education system that this government has put in place. We need to really understand whether these policies are achieving the objectives and at the end of the day, whether our children are educated to the standard that we expect them in comparison to global benchmarks. Vinaka.
Koroitiko Ilomoloma from Sodelpa, Education Curriculum.
The education curriculum it's been systematically targeted for youth like this. Not much emphasis on the two major compulsory subjects like mathematics and English. I think so. One of the teachers had highlighted that there are class 8 students coming to high schools that still do not know how to read, and that's a big concern. So one thing that we need to look to, and I think so all the other parties have it in their manifesto, is the review of education curriculum and the system. And Sodelpa has in its plan setting up an education summit to reform our education sector. We will also try and encourage digital learning to enable students to learn at their own pace. I think so one thing that we had encountered during COVID, and that's something that we should all learn from, is when we had this lockdown and nobody was going to schools. And should that ever happen again, what are what do we have in place? So I think so we need to encourage the digital learning all throughout, setting up the proper facilities to cater for this outreach. And we'll also introduce a basic life skill education program. And that itself, it will also answer the previous question that you had asked regarding poverty amongst the youths below 30.
Penny Matanisinga from Unity Fiji.
Vinaka Vijay, yes, I agree that we need to improve our education system here in Fiji, and one way that we can improve on that is to look at all the other different forms of receiving education here in Fiji or other qualifications, which comes back to what I said earlier on the different potentials of young individuals here in the country. Unity Fiji, we're focused on giving a better education from the grassroots levels up till tertiary. So that's where our free education system comes in. We are looking at revising the outdated Education Act of 1978. We are looking at the student-teacher ratio, which is 1:50. We're changing that to 1:30. That way students have more time, interaction time with their teachers, and they're able to air out their opinions or concerns of what they think they didn't learn properly in class. Because we all know that in a big class, students tend to be shy. So by changing all of these things, we try and get the student to be more themselves. Yeah, just be themselves and try and converse with their teachers. The other thing that we're trying to do here at Unity Fiji in order to improve our education system is to appoint an education commission to independently evaluate the education system here in Fiji. So yeah, those are a few things that we try.
And it's quite hard to manage 50 students in one classroom, no doubt about that. Nitish from We Unite Fiji.
So yeah, I think the school's curriculum should be reviewed. I mean, there's no point in a biology student learning about amoebas and bacteria when they don't know what financial literacy is, how to be financially literate. I think we should not rush into changing the curriculum because our students are still recovering from the pandemic and we still have 4 terms, so it's really hard for teachers also. But yes, I think when it comes to reviewing and changing the curriculum, it should be what is really important to us for Fiji. And what Apanisa had mentioned is like the government does not really reach out. We should reach out to countries that have successfully managed their education system, like the Scandinavian countries. They have some of the best education system there is. So we should reach out. And also our curriculum should reflect what's important, not what is important today, but also 50 years, 10 years down the line. Okay, 50 is a bit too far. So for example, during this pandemic, we saw that a lot of anti-vax people, Fiji has quite a significant anti-vax population. Now, everyone is entitled to their opinions, but I think if we introduce what vaccines are in schools and how they work, those students, when they grow up, they're less likely to be hesitant for getting vaccines. Because when you have the knowledge about something, you're less likely to be afraid of it. So I think our curriculum should reflect that. It should have things that are necessary, not just today, but also 10, 15 years down the line.
Next question, Apanisa from NFP. What is your view on tertiary education in Fiji? And what is your stand on the non-payment of Fijian grants to the USP? The outstanding grants is expected to reach around $100 million soon.
Well, my stance is quite clear. We owe USP that money and we ought to pay it. And our country stands at a shame for not doing its responsibility to the regional university. And that is a fact. My stance on tertiary education in this country, because I'm a tertiary student, is that we need to be supported in terms of mental health and of the issues that we face in university. Because a lot of the times we are put into a position where most of us have come from small towns and from Otoka. We don't have the kind of experience that we have, in university. There has to be some focus on mental health for tertiary students in university. And my stance is that Fiji owes USP that money. Fiji ought to pay USP that money.
Bulu from People's Alliance.
Thank you, Vijay. The People's Alliance, if we come into power, we will honor that grant, we will pay it. It's what's due and we recognize that. Can I talk about the TELS?
We've got a specific question on TELS.
We're going to pay the grant. Thank you.
Koroi.
So that will also be committed to this agreement. It's mandatory that we pay, because those that have decided not to pay one part of the initial deals made back then. So I think so as a host country we have to honor it, and being the biggest, we are the biggest beneficiaries. We have our people going there without having to leave home or fly across having to spend more, and the nation has benefited from it, from the university economically through these overseas students coming in. So for tertiary education, I think so. SODELPA, in its manifesto, we will honor that payment, and we will pay USP the dues that we still owe them.
Penny from Unity Fiji.
Vijay. Tertiary education, let me just touch a bit on that. I feel we are very limited on what we study here in the Pacific. I feel that we can open up a bit more. But in terms of the grant, yes, I feel the same as my colleagues here. We have committed ourselves to that obligation. We should pay the grant back to University of Fiji.
Nitish from We Unite Fiji.
Yeah, so I think I would also agree with my peers that we should release the grants for USP because it is our own students who suffer because of it. But and the thing, in my recommendation for this government is, if you do have disputes, if you have something against the USP, there's a standard. Approach them, because if holding this grant does not only affect USP, the institution, but more importantly, the students, the Fijian students studying at USP. So yeah, I think we will release the grants.
Labour Party, Pilika.
Labour believes that the grant for postgraduate research and coordination with government departments and the private sector to boost innovation. Labour also will reinstate the USP grant. It has set aside $25 million for that in its budget, and it also will review the fees charged by tertiary institutions as a condition for their grants.
Next question for People's Alliance, Bulo, and it's about e-ticketing challenges. Now, these questions that are being asked is based on us doing research on the ground, talking to the people on the ground, and coming back. As you know, we have 5 radio stations broadcasting in English, in Itoke and Hindustani, FM 96, Legend FM, Naftaran, Radio Sargam, and VT FM. We are on the ground and talking to people on a daily basis. The questions are coming from them, and this was quite significant. E-ticketing challenges. Students and young people facing many challenges. They cannot top up cards at easily accessible places. Young people are facing difficulties in redeeming their transfer to e-ticketing card. They get on the bus, they're told to get off because you do not have the card topped up. What are the experience of the youth that you have been talking to, and what do you think should be done? Bulu.
Thank you, Vijay. There are a lot of inconveniences around the issue of e-ticketing, and not just limited there. Inconveniences around a whole host of public services. And this government has a lot of good policies, such as e-ticketing. They've tried to modernize and move on with technology, but they have always failed to implement. And they've always failed to implement at a level to meet the general public's expectations. And this is a case in point. If the People's Alliance comes into power, we will review the e-ticketing system. We will consult. We will try to improve it. If there is a need to, we will allow perhaps accepting hard cash as well as electronic. The idea is to make life easier for the general public, not difficult.
Kuroi from Sodel.
I think so. E-ticketing, everybody faces the same issue here. Everybody seated here, because I think so. One in particular is that there's a lot of. So far, we've had a lot of cards to carry. We have a lot of cards to carry. We have this. We have a EVR card. We have our bus cards, and sometimes being misplaced at home. And then when there's a need arises, because youths are quite spontaneous. And to meet up somewhere is just today, in a minute you're saying you're doing this and then you're changing to something else. So, having the cards available is another thing. You're placing it somewhere, and then when you're going to that spot to go and get it, it's no longer there. So I think so what we need to do, like what my good friend Blue said, is we have to review, because a lot of these changes were implemented without without proper consultation with the people. We have people in the rural areas topping up their cards. The difficulty of topping up, they have to come back to certain centers. Some have to come back to Suba So the availability of these centers to cater for these bus cards is something that we will also review. And if need be, we'll also have both of the card and the cash available to the public.
Penny from Unity Fiji.
Vinaka, I think having this e-ticket system is actually a good thing. We need to get in with the time. It's not an inconvenience. However, if government does implement a new process that is to be given out to the public, they have to do proper research, proper implementations of whatever goes down on the card. There need to have more booths available. Yes, we do have M-Pesa. M-Pesa, you can directly top up your card. But the thing is, when you come to the bus drivers, sometimes they don't have a receipt. And you don't, the next time you travel by bus, you don't know whether you have enough funds. There is no available app on the M-Pesa to tell you, oh, this is how much that's left on your card, you must top up. So there are some small bits that need improving, and that's a few of them. Like, yes, you can top up through M-Pesa, but how about having your funds available show up on your M-Pesa as well? That, and for people in the interiors, have more places where they can top up, or even have it in villages, because I know some places the villages are far apart and they're very far from the shops, so they can't top up their cards. So the issue of top up, why not give it out into the communities, have designated places, or have a designated person within the interior communities or villages for a place, for a booth for them to top up their cards within the village, and then Vodafone can just liaise with the people there. So I think it's a good system. We just need to improve on how we go about with
Nitish from We Unite Fiji. What's your plan on these e-ticketing challenges?
So I also think it is a good system, and I think accessibility is the main problem. Like, there aren't enough centers where people can go and get their cards topped up. But it's funny because when it was first launched, there were a lot more centers actually. There were a lot more places where you could go and top up. And actually we had one of those centers. Like, we used to top up people's cards. But those people in charge of operating it, so in case for us, for example, it was too much of an hassle for us to have to wait for Vodafone to come and top up our machine, and then every single time someone comes in, and like, there was the profits, because usually these are run by businesses, and at the end of the day, businesses look for profit. If the labor required to just run that system is not enough to cover for the profits gained from it, they will get rid of it. So I think, in order to encourage more centers, I think the government, or Vodafone, whoever is running it, should give more, like, increase the percentage profit to those people running it, which would want more people to actually own those centers.
Milika from Labour Party.
I also believe e-ticketing can be an issue, and maybe is a good system of paying your fare or whatever when you use it. But we need to prioritize on digital, giving access also to the rural people in rural areas. Sometimes it's an inconvenience to them too, because they're not access to technologies and things like that. So prioritizing the access to the digital infrastructure, and also this will increase the ease of doing business. So yeah, that's what I believe, and what our party believes.
Abanisa.
I'm a daily user of the e-ticketing system. And sometimes when you go to the shop, they'll tell you, oh, we don't have any, there is no more. You can't do that anymore. Because they have to like top it up, the e-ticketing machines themselves. And that is the kind of issue that had to be thought about before you implemented the system. You had to think about Fiji's geography, Fiji's connectivity systems, because the e-ticketing system is connected to the internet. And of course, the availability of cash with people. Because sometimes you want to go to town, you have $1, but you can't get on the bus. Why? Because you can't put $1 in your e-ticketing card. You have to put from $2 and above. And those are the issues that we should have had a consultative approach with the Fijian people before we implement any such system. But we implemented it anyway. It has inconvenienced thousands of traveling people, and because we don't like, a lot of this thing, we just go with it. And that's what's happening in this country. And that is a fundamental thing that we have to learn is, as a government, you must consult. You must understand what's happening on the ground before you implement any policy.
On to the next question, Koroi from Sodelpa. Tails and toppers, a lot of talk about, especially the younger generation. They want to know about what the party, each party that's contesting the election, has to offer to them. There's tails questions have come in for every show that we've done. There's some students owing even up to $30,000, and they haven't been able to get a job. And whatever they've been able to get, they haven't been able to pay. The other issue is the toppers, that only about 600 or so, the number has been increased a bit of the cream of the crop, so to speak, as far as the marks are concerned. Only they will get the full scholarships. What will Sodelpa do?
Thank you very much, Vijay. I think so for Sodelpa, we've been advocating ever since 2014 to remove the TELS debt. And we were thinking, it was imprinted in our policy from 2014 that we will cancel all TELS debt should we form government. Back then, and we are still carrying forward that stance. We will cancel all debts. And one thing that the party has in its manifesto, and we have financial advice given to those that have prepared our budget, that we can also accommodate for free tertiary education for first degree based on students' performance. So we will also, that in this case, Vijay, we will provide free tertiary for first degree holders, your first degree. So once you receive an admission from any university, whether it be USP, FNU, or University of Fiji, Sodelpa will provide it free, only for your first degree. And for those that will be continuing next year, when we come in, we will ensure that they continue with debt free, but we will continue with paying off their fees up until they graduate. That's the policy that the party has.
Unity Fiji, Penny?
For us, Unity Fiji, we believe that education is not a privilege, it's a right. So for us, we are giving out free education as well, from early childhood learning up till the tertiary levels as well. So we're removing all of the toppers and the TELS, the schemes, and we're just giving out free education. So we will introduce a new scholarship whereby students, all they need is a letter of entrance into a university. So when they do get that letter, they automatically qualify for the free education scholarship that we have. And for those that owe money on TELS, we are planning also on forgiving all that under TELS.
Nitish from We Unite Fiji.
So I believe the last time someone from We Unite was here, they had messed up this. Dr. Choni had. So I had consulted our General Secretary about this, and I gave her my opinions. So we have come to a new verdict, and that is the current schemes, the TELS and scholarships will remain. If we see that there are fields that need more scholarships, there are jobs that are lacking, we'll provide more scholarships. There are some courses that do not offer TELS anymore. For example, for those who want to become a dentist or aviation, if a student is really passionate about doing a particular course, I think they should be provided a loan for it. As for the notion of making tertiary education free, I wish Fiji had the money to do that. But, and I know my peers here are not the ones who have put this in their manifestos, but it's hypocrisy actually. To at one point say that this government has so much debt, it's a freebies government, and then you add one more layer of that. Where are we going to get free? There are of the 200 nearly countries in the world, only a handful offer free tertiary education. One of them is Germany, which has a GDP per capita of roughly 50,000 USD. Fiji's GDP per capita is 5,000, a tenth of that of Germany's. Yet we expect to be able to afford free tertiary education. Australia, New Zealand, America is not. America tried getting rid of its TEL students that couldn't. Also, staying on that, if we get rid of the debt for students on TELs, what will you do for the students who had to study privately? Will you then pay them for spending so much money of their own money into getting that job, that course? For example, I know so many students who were studying MBBS because at one point their scholarships were removed. Their parents had to take on loans just so their students could study privately. So what are you going to do for that? I think it's hypocrisy. I wish that Fiji had. I wish 10 years, 15 years down the line, Fiji does afford free tertiary education. I'm a tertiary student. I wish we could. But let's not fool ourselves. This is not a Disney movie. We cannot afford free tertiary education.
Thank you, Nitish. We go to People's Alliance. Bulu.
Thank you, Vijay. The People's Alliance perspective is that investing in the young people through education in the long term contributes to increased productivity and GDP. So for us, we're going to remove the TELs, remove the toppers. We're going to replace it with full scholarships with bond conditions. And it's going to be funded from the existing allocation, 162.6 million, which is for the TELs and the toppers. We believe that this, unlike what my colleague here at We Unite Fiji is saying, we don't believe education is spending leading to debt. We believe it's an investment in the future of this country through our young people to contribute to GDP. Vinaka.
Apanisa from NFP.
Let me state categorically that the NFP does not have any plans to change the current system. Your scholarships are not going away, your TELs is not going away. Instead, we're introducing a new type of means-tested scholarship that looks at people who are not able to pay from backgrounds that perhaps are not in an economic position to pay for your scholarships. That is a new level of scholarships that NFP is going to be providing. Under an NFP government, your scholarships and your TELs are not going away. That is the position that we have.
Bilika from Labour Party.
Well, Labour will reduce the burden of TELs and encourage hard work. We will set up a new ministry for tertiary and vocational education to oversee this sector. We will reduce TELs by 50% for those who have completed courses within the prescribed time, and also further reduce TELs for courses at national level. We will also increase the TELs eligibility quota. That's part of our policy.
Thank you, Bilika. You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. We will be back after this break.
What I did in 2006 is to clean up the mess in the study.
When there has been Itoke leadership, everybody has been embraced.
He cannot stomach the fact that he is not in government.
You said that you couldn't pay out bonuses, but this shows an increase in board directors' fees.
You are wanting to lead the country, not me. I'm asking you the question again, back to corporal punishment.
Right.
What's your stand on it?
Fiji First cannot intervene into a personal matter.
Absolutely, you can for small businesses.
I was very surprised when he came out with that statement that I would conduct a coup if I lose. Not
Hand
me.
on your heart.
It's him.
No, you're a joke.
No, you are a joke.
You're a joke.
You're a joke. Don't bring that up. We don't.
No, I gotta bring it up. You were commander.
But yes,
Every military officer and serviceman at the time was under your
you've
command.
forgotten you trained them.
Bulu Vinaka. This is Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan.
Fiji Village Straight Talk with Vijay Narayan. Sponsored by Salt and Pepper Home Decor. Living in high quality. Watch it live on the Fiji Village Facebook page. Download the all-new Fiji Village app. Get the latest news direct to your mobile. Get the latest sports updates from our scoreboards online. Navigate easily through our categories. Watch videos from Straight Talk interviews, local music videos, sports and many more. You can now easily listen to your favorite radio stations from your phone. Download the all-new Fiji Village app right now.
You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. A historic night tonight. For the first time ever, a youth debate before the general elections, and we'd like to thank the Fiji Labour Party, National Federation Party, People's Alliance, SODELPA, Unity Fiji and We Unite Fiji, who agreed and accepted our invitation to come here, sit across from the table and talk about issues that matter to them. We also invited Fiji First. The General Secretary was sent the invite to nominate a younger candidate, a youth candidate, to come and talk at the table. There was no response received. We're on to the last segment. My question on our stand for different parties on Great Council of Chiefs. A lot has been said. We'll start off with Unity Fiji. What is your party stand on Great Council of Chiefs, and do you feel enough is being done for racial unity and the upliftment of different cultures and traditions in this country?
Naka Vijay. For Unity Fiji, we plan on bringing back our GCC. We will re-establish the GCC and to provide leadership to our nation building. And the other one is to consult widely on the most effective structures of GCC and the roles that it play in our daily lives and in decision making. And we will also build the capacity of our chiefs to be able to effectively play and their assigned roles, and review the laws that relate to the national unity. Apologies. The second bit of your question was on the improvement of the various cultures that we have. I feel, yes, that this government has had a way of helping other cultures live in peace with the others. It is a good thing. We are all Fijians, as stated. We are able to live together and coexist peacefully, because we live in a multicultural country, and learning about other cultures is what has been the norm from learning from schooling, early childhood, primary school, and even tertiary. We constantly interact with people from other cultures, and I myself enjoy the other cultures like Diwali, Eid, and all of these things, and I feel that it is very important to always embrace each other's culture. That is what keeps us together. That is what unites us as a country, and I think that we should continue that.
We Unite Fiji. Nitish, what is your stand on the Great Council of Chiefs, and do you feel enough is being done for racial unity and the upliftment of different cultures and traditions?
So I'll answer the second question first. And I believe that the people of Fiji are inherently peaceful. Like Indians, Ethiopians, we all live together, and all the other minorities. Like it's those in power, it's politicians, I feel like, who used to divide people.
You are a politician right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just joined recently, but it's the old ones. If I'm being honest with you, a lot of our racial segregation occurred after the 87 coup. Prior to that, I have no memory, or none of my families even mentioned that, Indians and Fijians used to hate each other. But all of a sudden, people did not want to see them, the other race, other group. So I think if left them on their own, if politicians did not bring race into their politics, we won't need to do anything to bring harmony to the people of Fiji. As for the GCC, I believe my party's stance is clear. I have asked our party's founder and the general secretary, and this is what we believe. The GCC will not be brought back if We Unite Fiji came into power. I know at first some did say that we will bring it back. We won't, because the founder of We Unite Fiji himself is the High Chief of Nandronga. If the GCC was to be brought back, it is none of us politicians who are going to sit there. It is those guys, those chiefs, who are going to be part of the GCC. If that chief does not want to be part of the GCC, why bring back the GCC? It's a relic of the past, a colonial era relic used to control people. With the Queen's death, I think the GCC should also be in the past. It should not be brought back. If there needs to be a new council of chiefs to help promote Eat-OK cultures, most definitely do so. Where they can govern the provinces and help the Matangalis and Eat-OK people into getting better opportunities for their people. But I do not think we need a new council on a national level. And then again, we do not have a Senate. One of the most important functions of the GCC was to appoint senators. You bring back the GCC, you bring back the Senate. In what form are you bringing back the GCC? So if the chiefs, if the Nanonga's High Chief doesn't want to bring the GCC back, I don't see why other politicians who are not going to be part of the GCC want to bring it back.
Milika from Labour Party?
Well, Labour stands by its guiding principles. Labour believes that the indigenous rights are protected under the Constitution, the 1987 Constitution. There needs to be consultation with regards to this. We stand by our guiding principles, which is recognition and protection of fundamental political and civil rights of citizens and freedom of expression and a just judicial system. So this is one of our guiding principles, and we stand by them. We assure the Fijian citizens, the Eat-OK indigenous people, that their rights are protected under the 1987 Constitution.
The party's constitution? You mean 2013 Constitution?
A 1987 Constitution.
1997 Constitution?
1987.
1987 Constitution, your constitution, party constitution?
No, the Fiji Constitution, I'm sorry, but we
are under the 2013 Constitution. Yeah. 97
yes.
Constitution?
Yes, sorry.
No longer exists. Okay, thank you. Apanisa from NFP?
The fact is that the Great Council of Chiefs cannot be brought back under what it used to be, because it existed as a creature of the Constitution, the 1997 Constitution. And if it were to be brought back, it can't come back in what it used to be. But what form should it take? And I think the answer is with the Eat-OK people themselves. What does the government want? It wants to consult with people. And if the Eat-OK people want it back, it's for them to decide. And also something important for us to understand now is that our brothers, Fijians of Indian descent, are also now part and parcel of the Vanua under the Luvendra Ratu. Which means that if it were to be brought back, the young people, the Fijians of Indian descent who are Luvendra Ratu will also be given an opportunity to air out their concerns. In what kind of form do you want an advisory body on traditional Fijian culture?
Bulu from People's Alliance.
Thank you, Vijay. The People's Alliance will reinstate the Great Council of Chiefs within the first 100 days of taking office, if they come into power. And the reason is because the Great Council of Chiefs represent to the Fijian people a system of leadership, a system of control. Much of the moral decay that we have in society today has been because of this weakening of Fijian structure and Fijian system, Fijian culture. And this leads me to the second question that you asked: is enough being done for all the cultures? First of all, with the Fijian culture, 37 anti-Eat-OK laws were introduced by this government under Standing Orders 51, and these marginalized the rights of the Eat-OK. So we cannot oppress a certain segment of the population and expect there to be equality. All voices matter, and we will consult with the people just in what form the GCC should come back in. It may or may not be exactly as it was. It will need to be in a format that is contextualized to the current modern operating environment. Thank you.
Koroi from Sodelpa.
Sodelpa will reinstate the Great Council of Chiefs, but we will also review its role. The one that we have in our manifesto is that we will see that it just safeguards the Eat-OK interest through its many resources to protect and to help maintain the traditional and cultural aspect of the indigenous people. I think so. I'd like to enlighten my good friend is that under Article 19 of the UN RIPS, is that the state shall consult and cooperate in good faith with indigenous people concerned through their own representative institution. And the GCC is an institution that will safeguard the interest of the Ethiopian. And the GCC, because it was politicized, has taken away its initial role. I think so. We need to have our traditional leaders. We also need to acknowledge the representatives of the traditional leaders, because, like you said, it's politics that has destroyed a lot of things. But we are thankful to our chiefs that through them and through their goodness, they have given us opportunity to live in Fiji. So I think so. We have to bring back the GCC with a reviewed role. Let it be free from any political control, so that they can just focus on their role that SODELPA will see, like ensuring that it maintains the Itoke culture and traditions. We will also remove the acts and decrees that was discriminatory against Itoke. And on the other races that have also flourished, we have funds allocated aside for the indentured laborers and their descendants for their development. We also have Pacific Island recognized villages, all Pacific Island settlements. So SODELPA is ready to accommodate all views, and we thank our leaders that have been progressing, and together through the different institutions, whether it be the Rambi Council, the Rotuma Council, the Great Council of Chiefs, we will all need to work together, and everybody has a part to play in contributing to the progress and the development of this nation.
Nitish from We Unite Fiji, what is your stand on Itoke land and utilization, and how can we use this to increase the value of our GDP? What is We Unite Fiji's plan?
So, Itoke land or native land accounts for the vast majority of the land in Fiji. Honestly, Itoke people, or at least from where I am from, they do not have a problem with leasing lands. And they're more than happy to actually lease land. It's the government that fails in helping them lease their land. For example, personally, my dad we live on Itoke land. We have no problem living on like Itoke land or native land. And he recently bought another plot in Singatoka in 2014. It took 7 years to get the lease. He had hopes of developing it, which would have helped contribute to the local economy and the Fiji's economy as a whole. But in those 7 years, we had the pandemic. We had other things. Now it's risky to operate new businesses or make new startups. So I think just getting it easier for people to lease their lands would contribute a lot to our GDP, and also for the Itoke people owning those lands.
Milinka from Labour Party.
Labour intends to, in regards to agricultural lease, Labour will increase the land rentals up to 10%, which they will pay 6% paid by the farmer to the landowners, and 4% will be paid by government. That is one of the things that we will do with regards to agricultural lease.
Apanisa from NFP.
Vijay, I think the answer has been staring at in the face for quite a while. It's that the government has to introduce a master lease. And has been NFP's position since 2014 that the government has to have a master lease on agricultural land, which it then subleases to farmers. Because why? Governments will pay and will understand if the farmers have any issues concerning crop, output, or if they have issues paying their leases or rent. Because a lot of the issues that are facing this country is because of unpaid rent, and because sometimes farmers really just don't have the money to continue paying for the lease, and the landowners are demanding the lease money. So what is NFP's solution? We want to have a master lease where the government is the main master leaser for agricultural land, which is then subleased to farmers.
People's Alliance, Bulu.
Thank you, Vijay. Much of this issue for us, the People's Alliance, is ensuring that the resource owners themselves are empowered and equipped to utilize their land and to benefit from it, to create sustainable livelihoods from it. So the sort of laws and policies we will introduce is to empower the resource owners themselves to benefit from their land.
And grow the GDP.
Right.
Koroi from Sadal.
We will review ITLTB and in regards to agricultural leases. So what SODELPA is in place is that we will be paying for the premiums for the agricultural leases. Since majority, and we have seen that the major way to combat poverty and to try and revive our economy is the agricultural sector, is try and encourage and contribute more to the agricultural sector. So what we will do is we will also put I think I might not agree with NFP being having a master lease, a government becoming a master lease, because that is discriminatory to landowner, and I think so with the People's Alliance view that we have to think of the resource owners. So
in what way?
In the fact that let the landowners decide together with proper consultation from the ILTB. We have a structure already in place. Let them have that proper consultation. Why are we taking things away from the people to decide? We want to empower the people. So
but that's not the position that you've made. You made it clear that anything that's to do with Itoke land will be done in full consultation with the Itoke people. What I'm saying is, the issue of why leases in this country expire and why farmers don't have that security of tenure is because farming is a precarious subject. Sometimes you get money, sometimes you don't. And what happens? If you have a government in place that will say, okay, we'll pay for it while you are trying to figure out what's happening to your farm, then what's the problem with that?
Government can just come in to mediate, but not be a mother that must...
we're not taking powers away from anybody.
Because that's what I'm getting from you. So, just trying to make sure that, that we need to empower the resource owners, and at the same time think of those that are leasing. So
you do not agree with the master lease system?
Not with the master lease system.
So when farmers are not able to pay for
I'll
lease,
explain my...
No,
let me explain my stand. So, let both the resource owner and the tenant, they need to benefit both. We can't let anybody be left behind as we progress. So what we need to do is that government can come in, whichever government to come in, to ensure that they mitigate in between. They can provide, like for SODELPA, we've made it clear that we will pay for those premiums for this for the farmers that have had their leases probably they cannot pay. And there are other ways that we can also.
Which is a master lease.
No, you can't do that.
No, but that has been the case since. Let's go back for a minute.
That's a disagreement at the table. We'll have to leave it here. I'm sure the viewers have heard both your sides.
Yeah.
I'll have to stop you, if not we'll be here all night talking about land utilization.
It's one of the very important issues that the country faces.
Now, on to my last question, and this is for you specifically. The people are watching, they would like to know, how do you see Fiji in the next 4 years, and what is your vision for Fiji? Milika, Labour Party.
Well, if Labour gets into Parliament next year, this year, our priority is our plan to reduce the debts that we have. And we will do that within the span of 3 to 5 years. We believe that we need to do more at home, we need to plant more, we need to produce more. We will stop borrowing from foreign countries. We will build capacity by producing more, controlling our imports, and increasing taxes on non-essentials. That way, we believe that will decrease or control our imports by, increasing taxes on non-essentials. And we will balance that budget within 3 to 5 years.
SODELPA, Koroi?
In the next 4 years, when SODELPA comes into power, the next 4 years we will have a more vibrant economy where people are free. We will, get rid of all these laws that suppress our people. So we will have a country where people can participate freely, openly, and can openly criticize. We'll also have a booming economy. We have budgeted out our manifesto, and in this 4 years, we hope and we know that we will achieve what we have set out for the people.
Unity Fiji, Penny.
For me, what I would like to see Fiji going towards, not as a candidate, as a youth myself, I feel that we need more platforms where we can raise our opinions, and I'd like to see a Fiji that involves its youths, that comes to the youth's needs, that answers their questions, and as a candidate, I feel that Unity Fiji Party is one that will do that. And for me, as a youth, seeing Fiji, I need to see growth in all sectors, all aspects of life, growth in our education, improvement in our economic system, and mainly united Fiji.
Apanisa from NFP.
I think we're going to this election not simply to win government, but to change the philosophy of government. People will ask, what is NFP going to introduce that's new or bold? But the answer is simple. Accountability is not a new thing. It does not cost money. But this government hasn't been very accountable. As you can see, that there is no FFP youth candidate here today to be accountable to the people. We want to be an accountable government. Transparency is not a new thing. It's not a new idea. It's free. You don't have to pay for transparency. But this government hasn't been transparent. And you can see with the $12 million of the pool in Notoka. Taking responsibility for your mistake is not a new idea. It doesn't cost money. But this government has not been taking responsibility for its mistakes. And as a government, NFP will take responsibility for its mistakes. Consulting with the people, it's not a new idea. It doesn't cost money. But this government has not been consulting with the people. NFP chooses to be a government that consults with its people. We don't want to go into government simply as a coalition with other political parties, but as a coalition with the Fijian people themselves. We believe that the Fijian people are part and parcel of government. You are our partners in government. And that's what we want to be as a government. That is the hallmark of NFP in government. And that's what we want to do in the next 4 years.
Thank you. Nitish, we unite Fiji.
So going forward into these elections, one thing I want to see is that there's a lot more dialogue between the different parties. Some of our candidates, some of our parties, they're a bit stubborn. They do not wish to reach out to the other parties. I think it's important to have dialogue between other parties and other, our opposition actually, because not listening to them is not listening to the people who have put those candidates or parties into power. So I think there should be a middle ground. We all have differences, but differences are important. And as for the next 4 years, I don't think we should look at 4 years. I think we should look further ahead in the future, because that's one mistake that governments really do, is they focus on their terms. When you start focusing on just those 4 years that you will be in office, you start to make wrong decisions. You start to make decisions so that you can remain in power come next elections. You start giving people more free stuff. So I think we should set out plans that are longer in duration. And also something for the Fijian people to understand is that right now, as we're recovering from this pandemic, there are a lot of hardships. But we will recover. We are a resilient nation. But when it comes time for recovery, some hard decisions have to be made. Some of those include raising VAT, raising tax. Do not get frightened if a government comes in and all of a sudden imposes new VATs on taxes, because when you have tough times, you have to slack a bit. But when times are good, you have to start saving for those harder times. Running a country is like running a business or like your own family, just on a larger scale. If you don't save up, you'll be in problems when disaster comes.
Thank you. People's Alliance, Bulo.
Thank you, Vijay. The People's Alliance hopes to, when it comes into power, start introducing the sort of urgent economic reforms that are required to address this unsustainable level of national debt. We know there are a lot of social ills that are brought about by this high level of debt. We hope to we will increase the accountability of leaders who are in power. and who are responsive to the public interest, and people are able to hold us accountable for the economic decisions that we make that affect their lives. We want to make a more inclusive country where all voices are heard, all voices are respected, and all voices are included in national policy making. We want all institutions to be more transparent, the judiciary, the legislature, the executive. Should be no conflict of interest as we're experiencing now. We're coming in to introduce the sort of reforms that bring about proper governance, truly democratic governance, transparency, accountability to the taxpayers. Vinaka.
Thank you, and that's the show for tonight. Our youth at the table, Fiji Labour Party, National Federation Party, People's Alliance, SODELPA, Unity Fiji, We Unite Fiji. It was a pleasure hosting you tonight. All the best as far as your last few days of campaign is concerned. As you've shared with me that you have had to have many bilos of Yangona during your campaign period, and I believe that these last few days will be intense campaigning where you'll have to have many more under your belt, so all the best with that. Of course, campaign blackout starts on December 12th, that is Monday, 7:30 a.m. So no political talk from that time until 6 p.m. on December 14th, which is next Wednesday, when 7:30 a.m. People start going to vote on election day. 6 p.m. We have voting closing, and we'll have a special night on election night with live coverage. We'll be bringing you live coverage of the count as the results drop. So don't go anywhere. We'll be here with you in relation to that. Tomorrow night, we've extended an invitation again to the Supervisor of Elections, Mr. Mohammed Sanim, and we are awaiting his confirmation. That is to talk about electoral processes as questions continue to come, and we owe it to you that we bring the Supervisor of Elections again in relation to that. So keep checking our platforms. We'll have information on that. And Thursday night, another interesting debate involving women candidates. We have confirmation from a number of parties already, and we will be giving that list of candidates confirmed. We are waiting for Fiji First to confirm their female candidate who can come to a debate like this to talk about it. The leaders debate, that's on Sunday, this Sunday, 7 p.m., December 11th. Leaders that have confirmed for our leaders debate right here on Fiji Village Straight Talk. Rambuka, People's Alliance leader, Mr. Sitiveni Rambuka, NFP leader, Professor Biman Prasad, Unity Fiji leader, Savinathan Narumbe, SODELPA leader, William Ngavoka, and Fiji Labour Party leader, Mahendra Chaudhry. We are awaiting the confirmation from Fiji First leader, Vorenge Banimarama. Requests have been sent. Stay with us. Have a great evening. We'll join you again.
What I did in 2006 is to clean up the mess in the study.
When there has been Itoke leadership, everybody has been embraced.
He cannot stomach the fact that he is not in government.
You said that you couldn't pay out bonuses, but this shows an increase in board directors' fees.
You are wanting to lead the country, not me. I'm asking you the question again, back to corporal punishment. Right. What's your stand on it?
Fiji First cannot intervene into a personal matter.
Absolutely you can for small businesses.
I was very surprised when he came out with that statement that I would conduct a coup if I lose. Not
Hand
me.
on your heart.
It's him.
No, you're a joke.
No, you are a joke. You're a joke. You're a joke.
Don't bring it up.
No, I gotta bring it up. You were commander.
But yes,
Every military officer and serviceman at the time was under your
you've
command.
forgotten you trained them.
Bulu Vinaka. This is Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan.
Fiji Village Straight Talk with Vijay Narayan. Sponsored by Salt and Pepper Home Decor. Living in high quality. Watch it live on the Fiji Village Facebook page. Download the all-new Fiji Village app. Get the latest news direct to your mobile. Get the latest sports updates from our scoreboards online. Navigate easily through our categories. Watch videos from Straight Talk interviews, local music videos, sports and many more. You can now easily listen to your favorite radio stations from your phone. Download the all-new